Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for the next episode of my series of video games that deserve sequels. And in today's video, I'm going to cover an example of a third-person action-adventure video game from 2015, which was a PS4 exclusive, set in an alternate history. And this is a game which I think is really underrated, and I think deserves a lot more attention. I played this, of course, in early 2023, and I think it's really underrated. And this video game, which I personally would love to see sequel to, is none other than 2015's The Order 1886. So, you guys are going to, of course, asking me what are my thoughts on this video game then. So, I played this game at the start of 2023 and I finished its story mode. And I personally think it's really underrated. And I think it's a very interesting game in my opinion, because of the alternate history it takes place in. So what I think is great about it is, I think it has a very interesting story and a concept of a world in 1886 where there's advanced technology and also mythical creatures in London, which I definitely think is very interesting. And you literally play as, of course, a historical figure being Galahad. And what's also interesting is that there's also a round table in this alternate history as well, which is really cool. So I like the idea of the game having an alternate history because it means that the writers of the game can take lots of liberties with real-life history, really, and get away with it, really, and not cause any problems. And I think the game did a really great job with it, absolutely. And I also think the game also has really great graphics as well, because when I played this game last year, I was really impressed with graphics. In my opinion, they've aged really well. And yes, I definitely would also say this is a game which is better than today's game, in my opinion, absolutely. Because I think it holds up phenomenally. Considering it's 9 years old, I think it's aged really well, in my opinion. You wouldn't think it was that old, in my opinion. Like, it's hard to believe that next year it'll be 10 years old, because I think the graphics have aged really well for it. So, when it comes to the idea of the game getting a sequel then, so I definitely think the game is well in need of a sequel, simply because the game ends on a pretty cool cliffhanger, in which, of course, after the events of the game, Galahad has defeated the character Lucan, and in a post-credit scene, he's seen on the roof of a building overlooking London, which is under martial law. He's warned, of course, by Nikola Tesla over a radio that the police could strike any time, and they should leave the city immediately. But Galahad then tells Tesla he's Galahad no more. So, that was clearly a pretty cool setup for more to come, in which, of course, Galahad no longer goes by that name, and of course, he's got to escape the city. So, I'd really love a sequel where, of course, the character returns alongside the others who survived the game, and we of course see him escaping the city. I'd love to see that. Maybe introduce new mythical creatures from history of like folklore or like from popular novels or something like that. Maybe even more historical figures as in an alternate history. I'd really love to see that happen, absolutely. There's lots of potential for this game. Because it's an alternate history, there can be so many liberties taken with this story, absolutely. And not to worry about changing history of real-life history, really. Because the game is set in a fictional history where everything is different. So, I'd really love a sequel to this game, absolutely. Because like I said, guys, I think it's a very underrated game. The only bad qualities I'd have with it is that, in my opinion, the story mode felt pretty short for me. I was able to finish it quite quickly. Especially because some of the chapters were literally just cutscenes and not actual gameplay. So, I feel that was an issue with a game, that it was quite short, because literally some chapters were just cutscenes, really. Nothing to do, really, in those. And I also, as well, wish this game was open world. Because, unfortunately, guys, it's just chapters. There's no open world in the game, sadly, which is a bit of a shame. So, I really hope if they do a sequel that they make it open world. I love that, absolutely. Like an open world action game set in 1886 or maybe later in the year's London. I'd love to see that. But definitely be, in my opinion, an improvement. So, my conditions with this sequel is, they of course continue on from the first game's ending. They bring back the characters from the first game who survived. Introduce lots of new things to make it, of course, stand out to the predecessor. And also make it stand out in terms of the gameplay by making it longer in terms of story mode. And also, as well, more to do, in which case, have an open world, basically. So, I definitely do think, of course, that this game definitely deserves that sequel, absolutely. So, because, like I said, I think it's really underrated. If you guys have not played this game, I'd recommend it. If you want a really good shooter game, this is definitely an ideal game for you. And considering, of course, that it's nearly 10 years old, it's just impressive to me how well it's aged compared to today's games. So, if I like it, then you guys might like it as well. So, yeah, I'd recommend it strongly if you guys have not played it. So, Anyway, guys, for me doing the next episode of video games that deserve sequels, but I was saying why, in my opinion, the Order 1886 is definitely a big example I can say of a game that deserves sequels. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to also in the comments what you guys think of the Order 1886. Do you need a sequel or not? Let me think in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Plan by pressing subscribe and it will come in the future. And I'll see you all later.